Let's make history. This is history in real time. If you're a history buff, you have to know what's going on in the present too, because we're making history as we go along. So today we're going to talk about the tariff war. We're going to talk about the press. We're going to talk about timber production. Interesting situation there. We're going to talk about the hostages, which are still in Gaza. We're going to talk about the wildfires, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the Democratic Congo. So the tariff wars. Now, this is definitely something to be alarmed about, but I wouldn't be too alarmed. Now, for those who don't know, Trump put tariffs on Mexico, China, and Canada. Now, these are our three biggest trading partners. Now, first, let's put things into perspective. Like I said, I wouldn't be too worried because you got to remember during Trump's first term, which was successful economically, he was engaging in tariff wars, and we turned out okay. This is what Trump does. It's part of his whole MO, so I wouldn't be too worried. He's been dealing with things as far as trade and negotiations for pretty much his whole life, so I wouldn't be too worried. I feel comfortable that Trump does know what he's doing. However, prices may go up briefly, but we're just gonna have to weather that storm for the bigger picture. Now, let me explain several reasons why he's doing this. And one is fentanyl, which is one of the biggest killers of Americans, as I've stated before. It comes through from China, actually. It's created in China. It's manufactured in China, the fentanyl, and it goes through two ways, mostly through Mexico, but also through Canada. So that's one reason why he put the tariffs on them. And the second is something called reciprocal tariffs, that for so long, these same countries have had tariffs on our goods. So what he's doing is something called reciprocal tariffs, where if you have a tariff on our stuff, we're gonna put the same tariff, the same amount on you. And if we make a deal, all the tariffs can just disappear. But past presidents have been allowing these countries to get away with this, basically charging us an extra tax. And because we're such a superpower economically, we just kind of bite the bullet and just go ahead with it, go along with it. But we have tremendous debt, so Trump is making an effort to cut back on that debt, and also so that America could step up as the world leader, as it is. It shouldn't be kowtowing and bending the knee to all these other nations just for no reason at all.
If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Canada, have you heard of them? And countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%. China's average tariff on our products is twice what we charge them. And South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that, 4 times higher. This system is not fair to the United States and never was. And so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day cost us a lot of money. But we're going to do it in April. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them.
So I do believe you will see prices go down, but it may take some time, so look out for that. And remember, you got to look at the big picture. Speaking of pictures, the press now upset because Trump is not catering to the mainstream media. And he's opening the door for independent forms of media to have access to the White House, not just the mainstream left, which has pretty much been antagonistic to not just him, but Republicans in general the whole time. And you know what? At the end of the day, the citizens, the people, we get screwed from that because the press, the power they have is unbelievable. People don't realize they have the ability to alter the way we see things by what they choose to put on and to give light, to shed light on, and what they choose not to. They can also play clips of videos and do it in a way where they have you thinking one way, but that's not the case. When you watch the whole video clip, you see a totally different story. This is exactly what happened with the whole shouting match with Zelensky and Trump and Vance. If you watch it all the way from the beginning, it was almost like 40 minutes where Trump was pretty chill, and it was Zelensky the one that was making little snide comments, and he kept insisting that he wanted to do the deal his way. He wants guaranteed security. Well, Trump was basically providing that without putting American boots on the ground, which is a genius idea. This is where the whole rare earth mineral deal comes through, because if we do the rare earth mineral deal, we'll have Americans there, not soldiers, but as long as Americans are there at work and have a presence there that has nothing to do with war, then Russia won't attack, because then they'll have problems with us. They can barely handle Ukraine. They don't want any problems with the United States. So that's what Trump was looking to do, but Zelensky, he wanted more, and he was very disrespectful. But you don't see that. They start the video, mostly all these news channels, unless you're following the podcasters such as myself or YouTubers such as myself, they start the video where Vance calls him out on his disrespect. Here you're in need. You need us more than we need you. Not to put it that way, but it's the truth. So why are you making demands? You should be glad that you're here talking with someone that's going to actually end the war and save lives in your country. Whereas this happened under Biden's watch, and Biden did not do that. From what I understand, Putin wouldn't even accept his calls. That's how much respect a lot of world leaders have for Biden, and America lost respect too because of that. Biden walking into walls, wandering off, falling off bicycles, tripping, falling up the stairs. You know, so Trump is making a real strong effort to get that back, that respect back. But he was even successful. Trump was even successful suing ABC, the network, after they altered a comment that Kamala Harris made later in the race to save her. Basically, she like stuttered off or just some a nonsensical answer as she usually does, and they altered the clip in a way to make her look good, you know, which goes against Trump. That was his opponent, and he actually sued them for that. So the press has their panties in a bunch. They can go ahead, you know, but they act like they are innocent, which they are totally not. The press actually, when you go to look at things like COVID and a whole host of other things, the press are complicit in many of the major problems that we have today in America. So I love the fact that Trump administration is opening up, you know, White House access to more independent news outlets. So that's great. All right, next let's talk about timber production. Again, Trump administration, they're searching for ways to swerve around regulations that limit the amount of timber you can produce in national forests. And it's these slashing of regulations that made the first Trump economy successful. When Biden came in the White House, I believe inflation was like at 1%. So it's these sorts of regulations that's going to make the economy boom. People are already complaining, oh, I thought Trump was going to get prices down. Again, it's going to take some time. The man has only been in office, about a month and a week, a month and 2 weeks. So give it some time. But it's things like this that are going to serve us well in the long run. Now, there's actually in Texas a measles outbreak. We just got here in New York City, our first 2 cases, but there's a measles outbreak. And RFK Jr. says that it's his his top priority, but people are giving him flack because he is not going the vaccine route. They expect him to run right away. Oh, get vaccinated. But no, this is why Trump chose RFK Jr. because we need to look at alternate routes. Again, the way we've been doing things for so long, a lot of it is dysfunctional. A lot of it is not productive. So why not try new things? RFK Jr. is an environmental lawyer. He's in great shape. He's on top of his game as far as the knowledge of the health of the overall country and where we're going wrong at, looking at things like high fructose corn syrup and all sorts of other things, trying alternate ways rather than running to the vaccines and the pharmaceutical companies laughing their way to the bank. And people are dying. People are getting all sorts of other side effects from these vaccines. We say, oh, that's not proven, but it's something to look at. It's something to look at. And RFK Jr. is a guy that's been on top of this for years now.
This RFK, I'm surprised he showed up because he has measles.
So the headline from FoxNews.com was, the measles vaccine is really important and it's crucial to fighting the disease. If you read the column, so the editors write the headline. If you read the column, he never endorses the vaccine.
Really?
And in fact, he says, really, the best way to fight this is good nutrition. And, actually, 98% of deaths disappeared before the measles vaccine. So if you read the text of it, clearly HHS and the White House want to hedge their bets a little bit in case there is a big outbreak. But what's funny is, if I'm reading the tea leaves, if I'm looking to invest maybe in different big pharma companies, I think this health secretary still hates the vaccine.
Extremely bright. So I want to see what he does with that, and I'm definitely embracing his this approach. We should have been doing this a long time ago, and we saw again from COVID that there are alternate ways to fight diseases, to fight viruses, to fight different sicknesses. There are different ways. We saw that, and then we saw also how the powers that be, media included, didn't want us to explore these things. They even shut down people's YouTube channels, and the leadership encouraged that. My channel was shut down. Actually, my other channel was shut down. Actually, during COVID, when I wasn't even encouraging people to do any specific remedies, to embrace any specific remedies that weren't tested. I was simply putting information out there, and I kept getting strike after strike, and the channel was taken down. So I love what RFK Jr. is doing. Now let's talk about the hostages, because this bothers me, because especially here in New York City, you have like all these protests. Out here in New York City, you can't walk a few blocks without seeing a Palestinian flag hanging from someone's window, or graffiti stickers in the street saying "Free Gaza," But I ask myself, do people ever really look into what's going on with this war, but look on both sides? They just look on the one side. They see, oh, there's too many casualties when Israel bombs places in Gaza trying to get to Hamas. And we know that Hamas has a vast web of tunnels underground. And they purposely built these tunnels under residential places because they know that, because they know that we won't attack if residents are there, if civilians are there. So that's why they do this. So of course, civilians are gonna die in the process, but you have to get to Hamas. And everybody's protesting on the side of Palestinian civilians, but I rarely hear people talking about or showing any concern for the hostages who've been there almost a year and a half now. It's been a year and a half. October 7th, 2023. October 2024 makes 1 year. October, November, December, January, February, March. So next month, April, will make a year and a half. They still have hostages. And now that Trump is in office and he's finally getting some of those hostages freed, they're coming out looking gaunt and malnourished. Like some of them have lost like 30 pounds in some cases, even more than that. And there's some heartbreaking stories, and I want to share one. So, you know, this stuff doesn't get enough light, but there's a guy, Eli Sharabi, his name was. Eli Sharabi had a wife and 2 young teenage daughters. I think it's 13 and 14, if I'm not mistaken, but regardless, young teenage daughters. And on October 7th, when Hamas invaded, they were hiding in like a cellar they had in their home. And Eli came out and he says, no, you know, don't hurt my family. Take me. He volunteered himself. And so they kidnapped him and his brother, took them as hostages. Now, his brother died 100 days later, 3 months, about 3 months in, his brother died. He was able to last almost the whole time. They just released him. It was like 500 days, somewhere in that ballpark. And when they released him, Hamas forced him to make a public statement as he was being released. And it broke my heart because the first thing he said was he can't wait to see his wife and daughters. He thought they were still alive. They were killed. When they kidnapped him, they killed his wife and his 2 teenage daughters. And then he lost his brother. So how does he even, what does the rest of his life look like after that? You know, and people condemn Netanyahu for his relentless pursuit to destroy Hamas. This is how Hamas operates. They are brutal. They are monsters. They are animals, okay? They do it under the guise of religion, but this is how they behave. They kill children. How about this other famous, there's a woman, had 2 young boys. One was damn near a newborn, and they're killing newborns, people. Hello, like, they're killing newborns. They're killing women, children. They do not care, and even raping some. So why are we defending them? Now, some people say, oh, it's the Palestinians, but you got to remember, the Palestinians, they voted Hamas in. Also, if you look at the rate of support that the civilians of Palestine still have for Hamas is still high. So they condone this. Plus, you have to remember, they were raised this way. They were indoctrinated to hate Jews and to actually kill Jews any chance they get. They have cartoons for kids promoting this ideology. So I don't have too much sympathy, really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't want any civilians to die. But to me, the most important priority should be ending Hamas once and for all. Because we can't have we can't condone this sort of behavior. You could just kill children, babies, snatching babies out of homes, killing them with your bare hands. This is what they're doing. So, so I think Netanyahu gets a bad rap. If you love him or hate him, I do believe he gets a bad rap. I mean, should your leadership not defend you? That's part of the criticism from the people in Israel that they have with Netanyahu. They're mad because they weren't protecting them. Because with the level of intelligence that they're capable of, they should have saw this attack coming on October 7th and been able to prevent it. You know, so a lot of people are mad at him for that. But over here in the States, they're mad at him for going after Hamas so fiercely, which I don't think he's in the wrong for doing.
בשלושה הימים הראשונים אני כפות בידיים מאחורה, כפות ברגליים עם חבלים שקוראים לי את הבשר, וקצת אוכל, קצת מים ביום. אני זוכר שאני לא מצליח להירדם מהכאבים, כי גם החבלים כבר בתוך הבשר, וכל תנועה אתה רוצה לצרוח, וגם אתה כפות עם ידיים מאחורה, אז הכתפיים נורא כואבות, ושום תנוחה לא מספיק טובה. ואז יש רגעים שאתה פשוט מתעלף. אתה מתעלף, אתה מאבד את ההכרה, מתעורר אחרי 2-3, והכאבים ממשיכים, ואני מתחנן בפניהם שיורידו שיעבירו לפחות את הקשירה של הידיים קדימה, ואז אני אהיה רגוע, הכל יהיה בסדר. והם לא מסכימים, אבל אחרי 3 ימים מורידים לנו את החבלים.
רק לפני רגע היית חבר קיבוץ, עם אישה ו2 בנות, עם עבודה נהדרת, עם חיים נפלאים, ופתאום אתה זרוק בעזה, כפות ידיים ורגליים.
כן.
אתה שואל את עצמך, רגע, מה נהיה?
אני לא עסוק בזה, כי אני מבין כבר את הסיטואציה, ואני יודע שלהתבוסס בתוך סיטואציה לא מקדמת אותי לשום מקום. אתה מנהל את ההישרדות שלך כל הזמן ומחפש פתרונות כל הזמן. כואב לך, אתה מחפש שלא יכאב לך. אתה רעב, אתה מחפש לא להיות רעב. אתה מבין שאין שליטה, שאתה נתון בידי אחרים, עדיין בתוך הכאוס הזה, אתה מנסה קצת לקחת את השליטה.
וזה יוצר שליטה בתוך האין שליטה.
בדיוק.
Let's talk about the wildfires. Now, Japan has evacuated over 4,000 people from their homes due to wildfires along its eastern coast. One person was even killed, and scores of houses were ruined. They have 2,000 firefighters out there now as we speak fighting these fires, and the cause is being investigated. However, this is their driest season. I believe it's January to March. So it's kind of expected, but still, they're investigating it. And the last time they had a fire of this magnitude was in the early 90s. And lastly, let's talk about the M23, which is a small Rwandan-affiliated militia that has taken over multiple cities in the Congo. The Congo is the largest country in sub-Saharan Africa. Rwanda is like almost tiny. You probably fit about 20 to 30 Rwandas inside the Congo. But the Congo's military is much larger than Rwanda's, but they're unorganized, and it's a lot of corruption going on. It's a lot of different factions within their military. It's like pretty much fractured. The previous leader, he didn't upgrade the military. And he's in power for, I think, like 2 decades, and he never upgraded the military. Their military is in shambles, but they are fighting, but they're losing. They've even hired European mercenaries to help them, and it's not going good for the Congo. Also, the M23, this militia, not only are they Rwandan backed, but Uganda also supports them. So this is a wider conflict going on here. I wish everybody in the Congo the best. The Congo has been having problems for many years, going back to Patrice Lumumba, after they gained independence from Belgian colonialism. The people are strong, and they're reaching out to other places internationally, but so far, they're knocking on doors, and so far no one's answering. And their president there's mixed feelings on their president. But when he got in office, he doubled military spending. But it's going to take some time for them to actually get their act together because of all these years of neglect. So he doubled the amount they're going to spend on military, which is basically around 1% of their GDP, which Rwanda also spends 1% of their GDP on military. But as I stated, theirs is just much more organized. They pay more attention to their military as far as efficiency. That'll do it for this one. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I only put these on YouTube, but I have other content which are on the other platforms. Definitely want to check those out. This is so important. I feel the need to do this because, as I stated at the top of the program, the mainstream media, we're getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the mainstream media. I mean, I loathe them. I despise them. You know, when you really look into this stuff, when you really dig into politics and you're passionate about politics and current events, and you see what's truly going on, which you have to look at multiple sources to do and constantly do it, and you see how they shortchange us, and it's disgusting.